Congress just voted yes on $8,000 stimulus checks for SSI and SSDI recipients, but Jasmine Crockett says no, and her fiery speech just flipped the whole conversation upside down. All right, let's dive straight into this breaking story because there's a lot to unpack and it's coming fast. If you're someone on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or you've just been following this stimulus drama for the past few months, you're going to want to stick around for this entire breakdown. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what the House just voted on, what Mike Johnson had to do with pushing this $8,000 payment plan, why Jasmine Crockett stood up and voted no, along with her full unfiltered statement, and, most importantly, what happens next. Is this money really coming to your bank account, or is this just more political theater? So let's rewind to how all this started. For months now, there's been growing pressure on Congress to pass some kind of relief for low-income Americans, especially seniors and people on disability. Rising inflation, rent spikes, food shortages, skyrocketing medical costs, it's been a perfect storm for millions of people who rely on SSI and SSDI to survive. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, jumped on that wave of public pressure and introduced what's now being called the Disability and Senior Economic Boost Act. The headline piece of that bill? A one-time $8,000 direct payment to all Americans currently receiving SSI or SSDI. The payment was designed to go out automatically, similar to how previous stimulus checks were distributed. No application required. No income verification beyond what's already in Social Security records. If you were receiving benefits as of June 1st, you were eligible. Sounds great, right? But here's where the plot thickens. While most Republicans backed the bill and a surprising number of Democrats crossed the aisle to support it too, there was one very vocal no vote that got everyone talking: Jasmine Crockett. And it wasn't a quiet no. It was a full-blown, microphone-on, floor speech moment that's already gone viral. But before we get to her statement, let's talk about what was actually in this $8,000 bill. First off, the payment would be sent in two parts: $5,000 up front within 60 days of presidential signature, and the remaining $3,000 by the end of the fiscal year. Why the split? Lawmakers said it was to give the Treasury Department time to process payments and avoid overwhelming their systems. Next, the money would be non-taxable and wouldn't count against income limits for current federal benefits for at least 12 months. But here's the fine print that Jasmine Crockett honed in on. Tucked deep inside the bill was a clause that would freeze future COLA adjustments for Social Security for 1 full year. Yup, you heard that right. In exchange for this one-time $8,000 boost, recipients wouldn't get their usual cost of living adjustment next year. And that's exactly why Jasmine Crockett stood up and said what she said. Her exact words: "This is a payday loan dressed up like a gift." Let that sink in for a second. She continued, "We're handing people $8,000 today and stealing their COLA tomorrow. That's not economic relief, that's economic bait and switch." The reaction in the chamber was immediate. Some lawmakers cheered, others booed. But Jasmine wasn't backing down. She flipped through the bill on live camera and pointed to the exact section where the COLA freeze was buried in the legal text. Her next line? "You want to know why working-class people don't trust Congress? Because of stuff like this." And honestly, she had a point. While the $8,000 check sounds amazing up front, skipping a year of COLA increases could cost seniors and disabled Americans thousands in lost income over the next few years, especially since COLA increases compound over time. Let's break that down. If the average COLA increase is around 3% per year and you're getting $1,500 a month from Social Security, skipping 1 year's COLA could mean losing around $540 in the first year alone, and that loss would continue every year moving forward because each future COLA would be based on a smaller starting amount. In short, it's not just a 1-year loss. It's a permanent reduction in your Social Security baseline. Jasmine Crockett hammered that point home. She said, "We are literally robbing people's future checks to make today's headlines." So, why did Mike Johnson and other lawmakers push this bill so hard? Simple. Politics. With elections coming up, a lot of politicians wanted to go home to their districts and say, "Look what I did. I got you $8,000. Never mind the long-term consequences. Never mind the fine print." And Jasmine called that out too. Her final line in the debate? "We don't need short-term wins. We need long-term justice for our seniors and disabled Americans." Powerful stuff. Now, let's talk about where this bill stands as of today. The House passed it. That's the big headline. But now it heads to the Senate, where things get even more complicated. Early reports suggest that at least half the Senate Democrats are siding with Jasmine Crockett on this. They're not happy about the COLA freeze. They want amendments to strip that part out. Some are even threatening to block the entire bill if it isn't revised. There's also talk of introducing a separate bill to guarantee that any stimulus payments moving forward won't touch future Social Security adjustments. Meanwhile, advocacy groups like AARP and the National Organization of Social Security Claimants Representatives are putting out statements backing Jasmine Crockett's position. They're saying that while the $8,000 payment sounds great, it's a trap. And social media? Completely divided. Some people are furious at Crockett, saying she's standing in the way of much-needed cash. Others are calling her the only honest voice in Washington right now. So what happens next? The Senate is expected to start debates on this bill within the next 10 days. There's already a push for amendments that would remove the COLA freeze and fund the $8,000 payments through higher corporate taxes instead. Jasmine Crockett has said she's open to revisiting the bill if those changes happen. Her latest interview? She said, "I'm not against helping people. I'm against hurting them tomorrow to help them today." So, should you start checking your bank account for $8,000? Not yet. Nothing's finalized, nothing's signed by the president, and the Senate could still block or rewrite the entire thing. But one thing is for sure, this story is far from over. And with voices like Jasmine Crockett refusing to back down, the debate over how America handles Social Security, SSI, and SSDI is only going to get louder. If you want to know what Jasmine Crockett's next move is and what the Senate decides in the coming days, click the next video popping up on your screen right now.